Maple Programming Guide, Chapter 13, Section 2, Programming Interactive Elements. In the following example, we'll create a tic-tac-toe game using embedded components in Maple. Okay, let's get started creating our tic-tac-toe game. The first thing I'm going to do is insert a table for layout. So I can do this from the Insert menu. I'll choose the table item, and a tic-tac-toe game is 3 rows and 3 columns, but I'm going to add a couple of extra rows for layout, which I'll show later. So there I have a table inserted, and if I click on the table and open up the right-hand panel, I can see various table properties. The thing I want to change here is the size. It's a little bit too wide for this game, so let's change it to 30%. There's a nice compact table. And I could do removing borders, but for now let's keep the borders so that we can see what we're doing. So the next thing I want to do is I want to put in my X and O controls. So I'm going to choose the combo box, and when I click on that, I see the combo box properties on the right pane. So I'm going to edit the item list. So I can add a few items. That combo box name is in there. I'm going to remove that one. And I'm going to put in a dash, and I'm going to put in an X, and I'm going to put in an O. Okay, so now I have a control that has these 3 settings. I'm going to go back to the programming guide, and I'm going to grab the code. You can type this in yourself, or you can just select it and copy and paste. So I've copied that. I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to insert a code region. So that's under the Insert menu, and there's Code Edit region. So now I can paste that in, and if I just press Enter, it'll execute. I kind of don't like that. Now I'll put a colon on the end to suppress the output there. Now going back to my component, at this point the tic-tac-toe code has only one method, and it's the select thing. And what does this do? It queries the property of the parameter that we pass in, and if it's not a dash, it's going to disable it. So all of this is going to do is when I hook it up and I click on X, it's going to disable the ability to change it. So how do we hook that up to our combo box? We can click on this Edit Select Code, and I don't need to use document tools because I'm going to do all my coding in the module there. So I'm just going to call tic-tac-toe. And this is a module, so we use colon dash to reference the member. So and it's select. And now I'm going to use the special this property, and that refers to the name of the active component. So let's save that, and I can close it. So now I'm going to demonstrate. Now I can click this, select X, and it will be disabled. I can always re-enable it by coming over here to the right and seeing that it's enabled. So let me just set that back to the default state, and I'm going to now, I think I'm ready with the template code and the action, so I can copy and paste this component into all the other cells. So let's do that one by one. Great, now I have a tic-tac-toe game, and notice that if I click on each one of these, they each have a different name. So this one is combo box 1, the very first one is combo box 0, and then we go from 2, 3, 4, etc. And it's important that these, if you're using the code right out of the manual, it's important that these have names in that order. So now I'm going to go back to the programming guide, and I'm going to skip a couple of sections until I get down to the extended code. So let me copy that part. So the module has a few more methods now. Control C to copy, and let's replace this. Control V to paste, and I can press enter, and that will execute and redefine the module. The first extension I'm going to look at is the reset button. So let's look at the code here. So it's going to go from 0 to 8, and for each of the elements, so 0 to 8 is all 9 elements, it's going to construct the name combo box 0, combo box 1, etc. It's going to set the value property to dash, so that's resetting it, and it's going to re-enable, it's going to set the enabled property to true. And the last thing it's going to do is set this label property of a new component that we don't have there yet. We're going to clear that. So the first thing we should do is create that label. And the way I'm going to do that, and this is why I've added this extra room at the end. So first I'm going to merge these cells together, and I can do that by coming over to the table menu and click merge cells. So let's get rid of some of that extra space. And let's find a label. Here it is. So the caption will remove the caption, and actually let's leave it as something so that we can see it disappear. And for the last, we need a button to hook up our reset action to. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to merge these cells, and let's get rid of some of this space. Okay, and we'll insert a button. So on the button name, we can leave it named button 0, and we'll call the caption new game. All right, and the quick code should be Tic-Tac-Toe, and we can use command completion there, and it's showing me that there's a reset and a select method. So let's just do reset, and we'll save that and close this. So now let's throw a couple of these together, and now if I click new game, it's going to go through each of these components, firing off this action. Moving back to the code, there are a couple other methods here. One is check for winner, and one is get state, and they go hand in hand. So get state, if we look at this code, it's going to create a 3x3 array, initially filled with dash, and then it's going to go through each of the elements and get the value property. The check for winner code, let's walk through that. So the first thing it does is it calls get state to get this 3x3 matrix, and then it goes through a series of scenarios to check if we've got 3 in a row. And it's using the array notation to grab a row or a column at a time, or an entire diagonal. And then if we, so it's putting these into a set, which will uniquify them. So if there's only one element in a set, that means it's just an X, not an O, and not a dash. That means we have a winning scenario. So then we're going to add the label caption. So note that we have modified the select method to call the check for winner. And I also want to note that some of these are exported and some of these are local. If I change this to an export and redefine my module, I can call that directly. And when I change some of these values and re-execute this, that's the matrix that getState is returning. So I can type into my worksheet and do things on the fly to see how my program is working. So at this point, I think I have a game working. I might want to go clean up the table. So let's maybe remove the exterior borders, and we'll remove the interior borders as well. That's this one, none. Okay, so let's click New Game, and we will pick X, and I'm just going to go out of order to get 3 in a row, and it tells me now X is the winner. One more housekeeping note is that a code edit region can be collapsed, and if I take the first line of that module, sorry, I need to do a shift enter to insert. If I put a comment there and say click to initialize, and then collapse it, when a user loads this document, they'll know that they can click this to execute it, and then it'll be ready for gameplay. The other way you can do it is, let me expand this again, and I'll just select all, copy it. I can also go to the edit menu and click on startup code. So if I paste this all in here, this gets saved along with the worksheet, and it will be automatically executed when you open that worksheet. So the user doesn't then need to have to do any action. They load the worksheet, they just see the tic-tac-toe controls, and they're ready to go. So that completes section 2 of chapter 13. You've created a fairly meaty application, and now you know how components can interact together. You can get properties from one component action and set properties during that action for other components. And through this way, you can build up your own math app.